Hello and welcome back to Norfolk Fords. Today I've got a nice cushy little job. I've done all my drilling, wasn't smooth, but I've got all my drilling done and I've now got the rolls on the back. And with my new Topcon system in place on the TM, this is so relaxing. It's honestly great. There's a couple of stones. Yeah, this is brilliant. I love it. Let me show you how I'm filling in at the minute. So we've got 6 metre rolls. I've got it set as a trailed implement on the screen and it's just working magic. Watch this. This is hard to film and steer at the same time. Right, steering disengaged. We come around. Push the button. Here we go. And now we look out the back window and it joins pretty well actually. I think there is a slight bit of drift on the GPS. Yeah, that's matching up, look at that. Oh, you guys can't see, hold on. It's a shame about the glare, but you can just about see the screen alright. This is an X25 screen, not on the latest software. I haven't had a chance to update it. I'm quite used to the new software because we have this on the T6 for the sprayer and such. But even on the older software, it's still doing all the same tricks. I know my way around, it's just a slightly different layout and a few less toys. Like on the newer software, you can program it to, once you've got a field boundary, you can set up so it automatically generates A-B lines off of headlands as well as filling in depending on your implement. It's very good. So this was second-hand on Facebook Marketplace and yeah, no problem so far, working quite nicely. We've got it plugged into an old harness that we used to have on the John Deere 6230. That was I think that was the first tractor that Dad had GPS on, but during them early days, we're talking all the way back in 2009, so that would have been the old sort of orangey brown screens instead of the nice black X25s. That was when we first got GPS at Belmont. He used to swap that between the John Deere 6230, like I said, this harness is from that. He had the harness all set up on the fast track as well. So depending on what he was doing, cultivations, etc., would depend if he'd have... Oh, I'm now turning around and it's bumpy. He'd swap it between that. So, well, they're old tractors. They didn't really have built-in... press the button to engage again. They didn't have built-in steering valves and stuff. It was all a bit too early for that. So we had this. This steering wheel has a model number that I can't remember, but this is the original wheel from 2009 and it's still working. The harness needs replacing because if you look here, the wires, you can just see copper starting to show, so this harness is on the way out, but this is the same wheel I can remember as a kid, and I don't know why. It sounds silly, but it just feels very exciting having the old wheel on my tractor, because I'm just keeping up with the modern way. I've got steering on my tractor and I'm well chuffed. I'm now looking into getting this fixed for the case combine as well, because I don't want to hear anybody in the comments saying you're lazy. That's fucking hard work, steering all day with a combine. I've got the option, I've got a wheel that I can just bolt in, bolt off, take the screen with me, take the dome with me, and suddenly the combine's steering itself. I'm going to do it. So I'm going to get that fitted, I am waiting back for a quote on yield monitoring kits for the combine, because with that data it'll store it on the X25 screen, and with that I can then put a weigh-celled fert spreader, or I can take that data, put it into the T6, and we can do variable rate fertiliser applications the next year depending on yield gathered through the combine. So it's all really clever little technology. So I'm going to wait for the price to come back on that. I'm really keen to do it. We'll see what the price comes back as. I think it's going to be about £3,000. We'll see what they say coming back. But when I spoke to them at the Lammer show about this kit, it's about £3,000. But I do need to have a little bit more information before I commit to it. Leave a comment below if you think there are better yield monitoring kits out there than what Topcon can offer. I'm open to ideas. But if I'm putting GPS on the combine, let's have a look at some other technology and get more use out of the combine, because how cool is that as an idea? Using the combine, I'm then making my maps for fertiliser. Because on my scale, I won't notice the savings, but you know, you double my area, triple it. Big farmers are doing this, and they're doing variable rate applications, and it's saving them a fortune. So I'll never notice the savings, but the savings will be there. So I think it's worth doing. Watch this space. We'll see what they come back with. So drilling went quite well. Apologies, I didn't get much footage of it. I was just sort of locked in for the past it took me about 3 days to get around. I've done 20 hectares of drilling. Annoyingly, some of it's in small blocks, so there's a lot of moving about and shunting about. It didn't go amazingly smoothly. I wish I'd have made more time ahead of when I want to start drilling to set up, you know, get the jewels on, get the drills set up and stuff, you know, little bits and pieces like that. I wish I'd have had myself a bit more ready, but it just wasn't meant to be. I got everything on, everything ready to go, but I was doing that in the morning, and in the afternoon I was drilling, so I should have really had it done ready last week, sort of thing. But daffodils have been an absolute bane of my life. I'm glad the season's over. We've had quite a good pick. It's been an odd year because yields have been down, but we've been fairly consistent, which is nice. Nice to be consistent. So yeah, daffodils are done, thank the Lord. And then drilling's done. So like I said, 20 hectares of spring barley, and then I've done about, I want to say 5 hectare of wild bird mix for your SFIs. And I will say this out loud, I've already said it several times, I do have to say it's not something I agree with. I think it's quite wasteful really, but It's a guaranteed payment from the government, although that appears to be more and more a lie, because I got my application in the first year. I still haven't had any money yet for the SFI. Apparently, rumour has it, they haven't... Come on, engage your steering. Apparently they've run out of money to pay the farmers. And that's why they've cancelled... Well, they've not cancelled it, apparently. They've not cancelled it. They've just delayed the next opening or whatever. Complete squid. They've run out of money, apparently, and that's why nobody's been paid. If you watch Harry's Farm, he's commented on this. He wanted to lay a hedge, never got the money to lay the hedge, so he hasn't laid the hedge. Funny that, isn't it? So, I'm a little bit annoyed. Hopefully, I will see payment for it soon, because I've done the work, I've bought the seed, it's in the floor. I haven't rolled it though, I wouldn't want to waste any more diesel on the waste of time that it is. Like I say, I do disagree with it, but I am a business, and I will do what is right for my business. So, my SFI wild bird mix areas, I did that in a way to square up some of my fields, because down at Newcomer Marsh, a lot of my fields go into like a tight triangle, sort of. So I've squared off to the length of the sprayer. Other fields which are like more inconvenient to get to, I've been a bit greedier on them perhaps, and squared off dog legs and stuff like that, a little bit greedy. But I've done that to cover an area that would do about 10% of my rent for the farm each year, which I thought was a sensible thing, because that's 10% I haven't got to worry about. It's guaranteed money, or at least it was. We'll keep coming back on that point a little bit. So I got it in, area's correct, you know, measured it all out, and I said to Dad, I want to roll the spring barley, I think I need to. He said, are you going to roll the bird mix? And I said, no, I'm not going to waste the diesel on it. That is in the floor, and that will establish on its own, because the corners I did last year have grown like stink, and part of me is quite worried when that comes to cropping it again, because I'm kind of of the impression that SFI isn't coming back, but we will see. You know, after them 3 years, what I'm contracted to have it down for, what do I do after that? Well, if there's no SFI to go back to, I'm just going to have to spray it off and kill it off. But I have my doubts it's going to be an easy thing to kill, because I've got the... Where's the ticket gone? I had the ticket here just a minute ago. Where's that gone? There it is. It was there, it just rolled the other side. It is 45% Hugo Tristed Kale? No idea. Laureate Barley, grown that before. Maluka Wheat. Protica Kale. I thought kale was a fish. Iris Fodder Radish. White Mullet. That's definitely a hairstyle. Shouldn't be on anyone. Abacus Linseed and red mullet. Oh Christ, we've got 2 mullets. And that's sown in at 40 kilograms a hectare. So, yeah. We'll see what happens in 3 years, well, 2 years time now really. Do I just get to put the corners back down to an SFI? Are they going to pull the things out and find more money for farmers? Ah, no. Sorry. Yeah, we'll see what happens. I don't know. I have no faith in it. I disagree with it. I've done it for monetary purposes, like everybody else.